Guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Mommy Monday video. My name is Melissa and I am currently 8 months pregnant. I have no idea when this video is actually going to go up. I'm trying to pre-film in preparation for baby so I can take like a little bit of a break. So I have a feeling this one's actually going to go up after I already deliver, which is crazy. That's coming up so soon. But today I wanted to talk to you guys all about what I'm trying to do to prepare for breastfeeding. A little bit of backstory on me. This will be my second baby, which means my second time breastfeeding. And my first time around, I struggled a lot. My breastfeeding journey was not ideal. It did not end the way I wanted it to. It did not start the way I wanted it to. I struggled quite a bit and I still have a really hard time talking about it. And basically this time around, I wanted to make sure I got off on the right foot. I was doing all the right things. So I put together a list of 7 tips or things that I'm doing this time that I probably should have done last time to hopefully get me started on the right foot. Also, please know that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, I'm not a lactation consultant. I am simply a second-time mom who's trying to share my experience and my tips and my advice with you. But as always, talk to your doctor, talk to a professional, and know that every mom, every baby, every breastfeeding journey is going to be totally different. Okay, so tip number 1 I have for you is to take a breastfeeding class. This was something I did with my first pregnancy and I thought that class was fascinating, you guys. I was utterly shocked and fascinated with the female body. We are amazing creatures, we really are. And my husband actually went with me to that class and he was like, this stuff is fascinating. I was like, yeah, we're pretty dang cool, you know, animals over here being able to do all this stuff. And not only is it just fascinating to listen to all of it, they give you so many good tips and tricks and advice and expectations. I will say the one thing to keep in mind is they frame and present everything very positively. They will not tell you the negative side. They will not tell you how hard it is. They will not tell you about the sleepless nights and the lack of sleep and the latching issues and the tongue tie possibilities and the low supply and all of that. They're gonna make it seem like you are just going to be Niagara Falls of liquid gold and here's all the magic that happens afterwards. At least that's how mine was. And so I walked out of that class thinking like everything's gonna be rainbows and butterflies and beautiful. And when it wasn't that way, it kind of crushed my soul and definitely triggered a little bit of postpartum depression. So I think it was a good class. I highly recommend it, but definitely just keep in mind that they're not really going to talk about the bad stuff or the hard stuff. They're just going to talk about what should be the easy stuff. So on that note, my second tip is to have realistic expectations for your postpartum journey. If you are set on breastfeeding, make sure you know that it is going to be a little bit hard. There's going to be sleepless nights. There's going to be, issues with latching. There's going to be a learning curve for you and for baby, and it's gonna take time. It really does. I think my biggest hurdle and the one thing I struggled with the most with my first baby was that initial postpartum time frame, the first 2 or 3 weeks of postpartum. I had unrealistic expectations. I was struggling a lot with the sleepless nights. I also had a lot of postpartum visitors, and I think that is something I'm definitely going to limit this time around. When you have so many visitors coming in and out of your house, you feel like you have to share your baby. You feel like you have to let other people hold your baby. You feel like you have to let other people feed your baby. And I was very set on trying to be a good house host and like, here, take the baby, here, do this, which was nice because it freed up time for me to take a nap or do this or do that or, try to be somewhat normal again. But in reality, what happened was I lost all of that bonding time, all of that essential oxytocin, skin to skin that I should have been doing. So this time around, I have set the stage for my postpartum experience. My mother-in-law is coming to help us with the baby, mostly with the toddler actually. And I've already told her, I said, you know what, I plan on cocooning in my bed for 2 weeks with me and baby. If I need help, I will let you know. Otherwise, you know, you can take care of the toddler and the house, and I am just going to sit in this little oxytocin bubble with my baby. We are going to do skin to skin nonstop. We are going to sleep as much as we can, and I am really going to try to focus on the hormonal bonding that I feel like I missed out on with my first. I don't really plan on sharing, quote unquote, the baby, you know, which may sound selfish, but it's something that I didn't do with my first, and I think that triggered a lot of my issues, so I want to do it differently this time. Okay, tip number 3 is to order your breast pump. So if you're unfamiliar, in the United States, most, if not all, insurances will give you a free breast pump when you are pregnant. And if this is your second pregnancy, third pregnancy, subsequent pregnancy, whatever, you'll have to check with them to see how frequently they will give you a breast pump. But I actually have 3 electric breast pumps here, as you can see. With my first, I used the Spectra. I think this is the S2, or yeah, S2. It was great. I actually liked it a ton. This time around, I already have it set up here. I washed all the phalanges. I replaced all of the parts that I feel like needed to be replaced, and I have it ready to go for baby number 2. So this was a really good pump. I do recommend it. It's hospital strength. Through my insurance this time, I actually ordered the LV pump, which is a hands-free pump. This is something I wish so badly I could have had with my first, because that was something I struggled with a lot, was finding the time and the convenience to pump. I had to pump with my first. I had a very low milk supply, so in order to try to build the milk supply, I had to pump after every single breastfeeding session, and we had this whole thing going on where it was breastfeed, formula feed, pump. And if I could have had something like this, I could have squeezed in so many extra pump sessions. It's hands-free. You put it in your bra, so it's wireless free, and you just put it in your bra, you walk around, it pumps while you're doing other things. So I could have been, you know, cooking dinner or sitting on the couch watching TV with my family, or, you know, whatever. So this time around, I told my husband, I was like, I know it's a little bit expensive. Insurance did cover a portion of it, but not all of it. But it is something that I feel like is going to be so essential for me. And then lastly, I did also get the Medela Pump in Style this time around. We actually switched insurance companies like mid-pregnancy, so I was able to get 2 new pumps through 2 different insurance companies because I had already got the LV, so now with our new one, I got this Medela for no particular reason other than it's a brand that I haven't tried before, other than the hospital, like the Symphony Medela that's in the hospital. So I'm keeping this one in the box. I'll pull it out if I need to for any reason, but I'm gonna focus mostly on the Spectra and the LV. Keep in mind, not every single breastfeeding mom has to pump, needs to pump, or wants to pump. I feel like it's a really good thing to have just in case you need it, because you never know if you're gonna have supply issues, latching issues, XYZ. There's many reasons why you may or may not need or want to pump. So if your insurance will give you one for free, it's a really good idea to have it, but just keep in mind that it might not be necessary for your particular breastfeeding journey, but for mine, it was essential, and I feel like it is going to be essential going forward with this one. Okay, tip number 4 I have for you is to set up a prenatal lactation consultant appointment. So this is something that I set up with this pregnancy that I did not do with my first pregnancy. My first pregnancy, I didn't even know lactation consultants were like a thing. I didn't know what they did. I didn't know it was like you could go and talk to somebody who specialized in breastfeeding, that was a professional that went to school for it. I had no idea. I found out after I delivered my son, and the lactation consultant came into the room and showed me how to latch and yada yada yada, and I quickly found out, you know, what they were. And so for this pregnancy, I was like, you know what? I wonder if they do prenatal consulting appointments. And they do. I called them and I said, hey, I'm pregnant. I'd like to come in and just really get off on the right foot with this pregnancy and set up some expectations and talk to a professional. And it was a wonderful appointment. I had a list of questions I wanted to talk to her about. I wanted to ask her opinion on the pumps that I picked out. Does she recommend them? Can she show me how to use them? Being properly measured for your phalanges on your pumps is essential to making sure your pumps work correctly. So she actually inspected my breasts, made sure that they were looking good and the anatomy of them was good for breastfeeding. And then we got a little measuring thing. She measured my nipples and we put up some phalanges up against it to see what size I should be using. That's gonna help so much as far as what like cones I should use, nipple shields and things like that. Me, myself, I would have no idea how to do that. And I was measured in the hospital with my first, but that doesn't mean my nipples are the same size now. So having her kind of get me started with that so I could have the pumps ready on the right size was perfect. Her and I also talked about what types of supplementations and ingredients and vitamins and things like that she recommends if I do happen to struggle with milk supply this time. I know there's so many different like teas and vitamins and supplements and pills and companies and things, bars, and there's so many things out there and it's really hard to know what's credible, what's reliable, what's real. So her and I were able to pull up some stuff online, look at the ingredient lists and make sure that if I wanted to order some stuff, if I wanted to take some things, I was taking the right things, stuff that she recommended. We also talked about some best practices for right after delivery. So of course, the skin to skin, the immediate breastfeeding, pumping as soon as I possibly can because I struggled with milk supply before. But one of the main things I wanted to talk to her about was something called colostrum harvesting. So that actually brings me to my next tip, which is tip number 5, colostrum harvesting. So this is something that I stumbled upon on Instagram one night when I was scrolling aimlessly with pregnancy insomnia. And I was like, huh, I wonder if this is a real thing or this is one of those like hokey, you know, weird things. So I actually brought it up with my doctor and I said, hey, have you heard of colostrum harvesting? Is this like, what is this? She was like, oh yeah, it's definitely a thing, but hold off until 36 weeks because it can induce labor. And I was like, huh. And that was the end of our conversation. So I wanted to talk to a lactation consultant about it since this is their specialty. You know, they specialize in breastfeeding and all of that stuff. And I was like, hey, can you tell me more about colostrum harvesting? Do you think I'm a good candidate? How do I do it? What do I need to do it? So she walked me through it, and to give you guys the Cliff Notes version of it, essentially right around 36 weeks of pregnancy, actually right around your second trimester, around 20 weeks of pregnancy, your body starts producing colostrum, which is baby's first form of nutrition. It's super, super thick, honey-like breast milk that is super concentrated with antibodies and nutrition and all of that stuff. So that starts producing at 20 weeks. Some pregnant mamas leak colostrum throughout their pregnancy. I am not one of those. I never did with my first. I haven't here yet with my second. But right around 36 weeks, it is safe to start hand expressing that colostrum and collecting it so you have it ready for baby, which is genius. One of the magical things about colostrum is it continues to reproduce and reproduce and reproduce until you deliver baby. So expressing it is not going to make it run out or make your supply low. In fact, what it's doing is triggering your body to know that you may need to be creating more because you're releasing this colostrum a little bit earlier. So my lactation consultant taught me how to properly hand express. She gave me some ideas of how I can collect the colostrum. One of them is with like hospital grade syringes. So those look like this. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see with this crazy lighting I have going on, but they're basically empty plastic syringes with little lids on them. They're individually sealed so you know they're sterile, which is important for a brand new baby since they do not have an immune system. So basically you hand express, you collect it in the syringe. And then the other thing we talked about and we found together online are these little Haka colostrum syringes. So these are made specifically for colostrum harvesting. Can you see that? You can kind of see that. So these are little silicone tubes. So syringes are hard plastic, you can't squeeze them. The silicone tubes you can squeeze, and so basically you can kind of squeeze and like help suck the colostrum out, or you can pop the top off and hand express directly into the little container there, and then you can feed baby directly from it. So I thought these were super cool. I will link both of these down below for you guys so that you can check them out. I think I'm gonna try to use the Hakas first, And then if I fill these up, God willing, if I fill all 6 of these up, or if I'm struggling with them, I'll switch over to the syringes. But colostrum is so thick that you don't want to try to pump it out because it's gonna get stuck in your pump. You wanna try to hand express it or get it going with the pump and then start hand expressing it and collecting it in these little things. And then you freeze it and you bring it to the hospital with you, and you can feed it to baby right away. Now you still want to put baby to breast because that is extra important as far as breastfeeding and building your supply. But if you're struggling with supply issues in the beginning, or if you need to supplement in the beginning, I know a lot of moms have to supplement with formula or donor milk, or if you're just waiting for your milk to come in, or if baby's really sick with something like jaundice or in the NICU or something like that, and you need the extra colostrum, it's gonna be so nice to have that colostrum ready for baby. So I am not at the point yet where I can colostrum harvest. I'm almost there. I'm really excited for it. I'm kind of getting prepared. I'm massaging my breasts every day, like getting them ready, but I haven't hand expressed yet. I haven't collected any colostrum. I'm waiting until that 36-week mark and I'm gonna get started. Okay, tip number 6 I have for you is to set up a pumping and nursing station in your house. So this kind of ties back into what I was talking to you about postpartum expectations. I had this idea that I would just breastfeed whenever, wherever I was around the house. I didn't think I was gonna have to have a specific spot for it with my first. And I guess in reality, once you're established with breastfeeding and you know what you're doing, and perhaps if you're a second-time mom and you don't need the extra privacy and support and things like that, you can just willy-nilly breastfeed around your house wherever you are, your bed, your couch, your bathroom, your kitchen, wherever it may be. But I know for me and for a lot of new moms, it's nice to have a dedicated area in your house where you can breastfeed or pump. A rocking chair, a rocker, or a glider in your nursery is a perfect space for it. We actually set up, so this is our nursing station, my nursing station right here. It's in our master bedroom. I actually filmed a video entirely about this that I will link down below for you. But this is where I plan to pump. This is where I plan to nurse the baby. This is where I plan to have skin to skin. This is where I plan to just snuggle my baby and kind of soak in all of that hormonal, you know, oxytocin bubble, like I like to say, the little cocoon of postpartum. This is where it's gonna happen. And I would have loved to have had this with my first. I ended up using my bed for a lot of it, which was fine. Wasn't ideal though, wasn't super comfortable. This is nice because I have my rocker, I have the ottoman, and then in my little station over here, I have my breastfeeding pillow. So I have my Breast Friend here ready to go. I can hook it around me. In the drawers over here, which you can't see, but there's 3 drawers over here, I have all my pump parts washed, ready to go. I have a drawer with extra supplies. I have a snack drawer ready. So things like lactation cookies, oatmeal bars, things like that. I've heard that Under Armour drinks are great for supply and getting the milk flowing. So I have a few Under Armour drinks ready to go, water, just snacks, and all the stuff I know I'm gonna need for breastfeeding and pumping. I have nipple shields over there. I have extra pump parts. I have some spray for my pumps over here to help get the phalanges lubricated. I have a power strip already plugged in down here that has USB and regular outlets so I can charge my pumps or plug in my pumps. I have pretty much everything all ready to go here in my little nursing station. This is also a changing table on top. So I do have a drawer that has baby stuff in it, like diapers and swaddles and stuff like that. We'll change the baby here at nighttime when we're sleeping or when we're in the room or when I'm here in the room in my little cocoon that I plan on creating. But this whole setup is something I wish so badly I had with my first and I didn't. So I'm so excited to come home from the hospital and just like lounge with baby in my little postpartum cocoon and just soak it all in. I can't wait. Okay, last thing on my list is something you might want to hold off on to see. You might not need this. I have a feeling I'm going to, so I have prepared ahead of time. So when I talked about my lactation consultant appointment, I talked about supplements, vitamins, things like that to help with milk supply. I dug my toes into this very slightly with my first, but I found that my milk supply was so low that literally nothing was helping. So that's why I wanted to talk to the lactation consultant about it, because I wanted to say, what do you recommend? What are some things? So we went over certain ingredients, and then we took those ingredients and found supplements that have those ingredients in them. So there's 2 brands specifically that I ordered supplies from. I don't have them yet because I'm waiting. Shipping has taken forever these days. You guys know that with all the shipping issues going on and the pandemic and all that. But the first one is Legendary Milk. They have some really cool supplies, you guys. So that's where this pump spray is from. Legendary Milk you can find at Target. Some of their stuff you can find at Target. I will link as much as I can down below for you guys. So that's where the pump spray is from. But they have something called Liquid Gold, which was the only supplement that I found actually helped with my first pregnancy. Sorry, my first breastfeeding journey. Liquid Gold is one of those all-in-one capsules. They're not like one ingredient specific capsules. So it has like goat's root in it, fennel seed, milk thistle. It's like a combination, kind of like a multivitamin, but it's a multi-supplement thing, packed with ingredients that she recommended. Then there's a brand called Motherlove. So Motherlove focuses more on specific ingredient supplements as opposed to these multi combination pills. They do have a couple of multi ones, but they have a lot more of just one ingredient supplements. So for example, just goat's root, or just fenugreek, or just this, or just that. So I actually ended up ordering an entire supplement, like just of the goat's root. That is an ingredient that I'm really excited about because it did help me so much with the Liquid Gold last time. I think it'll help me again this time. And then I ordered something called Moringa. I think I'm saying that correctly. But that's also supposed to help. And those were 2 things that my lactation consultant highly recommended. So the goat's root, the moringa. She also said ashwagandha was really good. So that's something I can consider if these supplements don't work for me. So again, talk to a professional. I cannot advise because I do not know. She did tell me to kind of stay away from fenugreek. That is a very well-known supplement that people talk about, but she advised to stay away from it for a number of different reasons. But I'm actually trying to work with Motherlove to get a discount code for you guys. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, but if I do, I will link it in my description box for you so that you can get some discounts if you want to order some stuff through them. I don't have one for Liquid Gold, but I'll still link it down below for you. Okay guys, well I know this has been a long video, so thank you so much for watching and hearing me out. If you have any more tips or tricks to help prepare somebody for their breastfeeding journey, please leave them in the comment section down below. We as mamas need to help each other out. This is such a rough time for us. Breastfeeding is not easy. It does not come naturally, and I will take all the help and advice that I can get. So make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, that's about it for now. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.